every year the Bass Nation produces a champion that ends up getting a chance to fish the Bassmaster Classic and an elite berth and live their dream fishing at the highest level with Bassmaster. And this year's no different. And we've had a pretty good string of having the Bass Nation representatives on the past few years. And tonight we're gonna keep that string going. So the 2024 Bass Nation champion, Bassmaster Elite Series rookie, Bassmaster Classic qualifier, Blake Caps. How's that sound?
Oh man, that sounds awesome. You can say that again if you want.
Right on. Well, yeah, I think I congratulated you via Instagram before, but in person, congratulations. I've been fishing the nation for a long time. Grand Lake was my fourth nation championship, and I know how tough a road it is. So I think a lot of people don't understand what a road it can be, and so kudos to you for being the rep of the nation this year.
Man, I appreciate that. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to representing all the nation guys as well.
Yeah, right on. HellaBass Live, as usual, presented by Arsenal Fishing, boosted by Powerhouse Lithium. Codes down in the description if you guys want to support the show and save yourself some money on some awesome products. Brian says we sound good, look good. The beard game is strong between us. But a lot of people checking in chat. Right on. So yeah, the Bass Nation Championship was back in Grand Lake. I've actually got all my videos out and things like that. So we've kind of had some time to digest this. So I guess what is your history with the Bass Nation? Like, have you been like a diehard, like fishing it every year for the past 10 years, dabbled in it, or this was your first year ever, or somewhere in between?
No, I have dabbled in it in the past. Probably 2017, I think it was. We made the regional back in at Toledo Bend, but I was going to school and stuff in college and stuff that time and working a full-time job. The schedule never really lined up with me, and so I actually haven't fished them in quite a few years. And then with the new schedule or the new change with the Bass Nations going to the 4 regionals and that type of thing, it kind of opened up the doors where I was able to get in that way, actually. But with the Bass Nations guys, like my area, I'm friends with a lot of them, and I've always liked the setup and plan on getting into the whole series. But like I said, the new format, it really helped like the working guy out even more, truthfully.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so the 2017 one, that was like one of the first years they went to the super regionals, where they went from, because they used to, before 2017, if I remember correctly, it was like 6, 7, 8 states in a region, but that was when they went to like 20. So like everybody from like Minnesota to Texas was like in one big region. I didn't make that one, but I had some buddies in my club that fished that one.
Yeah. Now that you can hear that, we're in the middle of a bad thunderstorm right now.
Yeah, it's not really picking it up, so we're good.
Okay, good deal.
Yeah. So if Blake disappears, that means the power probably went out. And he'll take cover, and when the show will go on, and we'll catch up with him after it passes. I feel like that's like a semi-monthly occurrence on BTL in the mornings, like where he's panger's late or worried about the power going out. So
yeah, we do need some rain though, so we'll take it. Not snow.
There you go.
I've had enough snow already.
We actually haven't had much snow. Like I think Mobile, Alabama's got more snow this year than we have.
Yeah.
Or at least in January they did.
Till we get like 5 inches, that's too much for me. We've been breaking.
Did you get out and break any? Did you get out and break any ice and do some fishing?
Yeah, if we did. And like I said, not a big fan of that. It's nothing, it's real thin, but nothing bad. But our water temperature did dip down in the low 40s, high 30s, and that's cold for this area.
Yeah, well, if it's anything like a couple years ago, that's what got all them big ones eaten on like Ivy and those Texas lakes. So it probably is a prime time to be out there right now.
Yeah, normally you do have a shad kill. It seemed like we have a good spring that following that cold weather. So I did see a few shad floating around, not a whole lot, so nothing major yet. But I hear we got another one coming next week.
Right on. So your Bass Nation journey, did you fish the local state qualifier, or did you go did you fish your state qualifier, or did you just go to the Muskogee tournament? Or did you fish both of them, or?
No, I just went straight to the regional. during the Three Forks, so I didn't fish none of the qualifiers. Like I said, and actually I looked at the schedule and I planned on it, just with things with work and all that. It would not line up, and I was already signed up. The nations or my bass membership, all that was still renewed, and I think that was actually one reason. Like I had full intentions on doing it, but like I said, just work schedule and all that, it just did not line up. But then they had the new format that really, that allowed me to get in there that way.
Yeah, absolutely. So you finished second to the kind of famous Chris Johnson, right?
Yeah.
Like he kind of made a big name for himself, kind of overshadowed everybody else in that tournament with his old school Ranger and his patched up vest and that kind of stuff. But so you were second place in that tournament. We actually had Chris Johnson on shortly after that. He's a super good dude. It was
Yes, he
fun chatting
is.
with him.
Yeah, that was a really fun tournament too. That was his tournament. He was meant to win that tournament. I can say that for sure, because that was one of those tournaments that I don't know how I still end up in second after I lost so many fish that tournament, but it don't matter now. But it was cool to see him win that.
Yeah, it was cool. Like honestly, Chris was probably one of the most popular people at the banquet dinner thing we had. Like there was constant people like coming up and
Yeah.
I mean, like there was probably more people talking to Chris Johnson than Will Davis,
Yes.
or even like Jason Christie. Probably because people are intimidated by Jason Christie, but like I feel like more people were talking with Chris than anybody, which was kind of cool.
Yeah. What do we need to do to get the vest to come back?
Yeah, like I've got an old club vest probably hanging in my closet somewhere. Have like a retro. Yeah, I mean, the sublimations were cool when they came out, but they're kind of getting boring now. Like,
Yeah. I think I seen somewhere that my guy Kennelly was looking for one as well, trying to bring back a vest if he makes the final day or something.
there was a tournament, I think before the split, where I think Timmy Horton showed up in one of those like jumpsuits with the patches on it.
Yeah, I think I remember that. Yeah. Yeah, that would be pretty cool. We have something like that come back. You don't see no one wearing nothing like that.
So the Arkansas River, is that a place that you're pretty familiar with? Is that home for you or?
Yeah, the Arkansas River is home for me. That's I can be on Three Forks where it came out of in less than 10 minutes. So it's literally just right down the road. So that when I seen the schedule and that we were going there, I didn't know if I was going to be able to get in or not. And fortunately I was able to, and that was just everything lined up perfectly. I've had some good success on Grand Lake in the past, but Grand Lake is not a home lake to me for any means. I mean, it's still close. It's 2 hours away, nothing too far. But out of all the lakes around me, I don't go there just to play fish. I only go to Grand Lake when there's a tournament there.
Right.
But the Arkansas River, on the other hand, it's nothing for me to run down there just for an evening, just to go jack around or something.
Right on. So were you on a similar deal, like spinner baits, power fishing, the qualifier in Muskogee?
No, the qualifier, there was a full blown spawn in the area that I was going in,
Hmm.
and I was running some really shallow water. And actually on day one, it's kind of funny. So in practice, the water was high, and there was people running around all over the place. And now we had a full field of that tournament, or I think there was like 220 boats. And they were running areas where normally you just shouldn't be running, and they didn't know any different. That's one thing. But well, anyways, the first day of the tournament came, and like typically tournament fishing, they shut the water off at Eufaula Dam, and all the water in some of those back bays they all pulled out. And the area that I was fishing, you could just hear boats stuck all over the place. It's kind of funny after day one. But anyways, what I was doing down there, I was really frogging them, throwing a booyah popping frog. I was working it really fast, and that's kind of what I was saying. It was Chris's tournament to win because I had so many fish that would eat the frog or miss it or just barely get that back hook. And then, like I said, I bet I lost probably 5 keepers every day on that frog, but they were on beds, and if they'd miss it, it was almost better. And then I could power pull down and just start flipping those holes, and eventually they'd bite. but it's the frog was definitely getting the bigger bites, but it just, if you worked it slow, they would never bite it. But if you worked it fast, you could trick them to just like a reaction bite, more or less.
Right. So wait, you didn't catch them on a minnow?
No, I didn't catch them on a minnow. No, I definitely in that tournament. I didn't. I still had my live scope on, but that live scope was out of the water. How shallow I was. Had the trolling motor.
Right.
Had a block of board underneath my trolling motor. How shallow I was going.
Yeah. Never love getting into some frog talk. That's awesome. Good. Yeah, that's definitely something we do on the Mississippi River too, is catching some early spawners on frogs up in these upper pools as well. A lake's not quite as much, but the river, it seems like it plays more for some reason. That's cool. So you largely frog and then following up, flipping the missed fish. That was kind of your 1-2 punch for the qualifier to fish her up. Solid little payday for a tournament. 10 minutes from home with a $400 entry fee.
Oh yeah, well yeah.
You've really maximized that $400 entry fee at this point for the Bass Nation.
That's been the best $400 investment I've ever had.
Because second place probably paid what, like $5,000, something like that.
I think it's 6,000. I think is what it was.
Yeah. So you got 6,000 there, and then you qualified for the Bass Nation Championship, no entry fee.
Yep.
That was like,
it's 50,000 to win that one.
50,000.
Yeah. And then guaranteed 10,000 for the classic.
10,000 for the classic, plus you get some knocked. Well, I guess the whole entry fee thing got rearranged, but like before they changed the entry fees, you would have gotten that as well. But that's a good ROI, return on investment for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, it still don't feel. I mean, it's crazy from that November tournament how much stuff has changed just in that very short amount of time. A lot of stress, but it's mainly good stress, but definitely a lot of moving parts behind the scene that I didn't realize a lot of guys go through every year.
Yeah. So then did you pre-practice much before the cutoff for Grand, where you knew it well enough you feel like you didn't need to? Like, what was, because you had plenty of time, right? That qualifier was like April or March or something. I mean, like, so you had 6 months to prep for Grand Lake. What was your process mindset? Did you do anything extra?
I did go up there for one weekend, just trying to look, because I fished Grand a bunch of times over the years. I have never made a cast on Grand Lake in November. So normally our super tournament for the BFL is in September, and we may every now and then have another championship that's late, or early in October. But normally after September, maybe October, I'm off the lake and not fishing it. So I've never fished it that late in the year. So I did go up there for a weekend and just kind of look at some of the back of the pockets and that kind of things where they may possibly be. Just looking for brush piles, that kind of thing. But truthfully, it didn't really help me out any, because where I ended up catching them was nothing that I looked at in the past. So, but it was funny kind of skipping ahead a little bit, but going into the practice of the tournament with the new structure of the Bass Nations, I didn't realize that the qualifiers could bypass the regional if they were high enough in points, or how each state does it.
The local state qualifiers. Yep.
Yes. I didn't, like I said, anyways, I knew there was 4 regionals, so I thought going into the tournament there was going to be 80 boats in it. So when I was at practice, that first day of practice, I was looking around, I was like, there's boats everywhere. And then that's when I ended up calling someone to find out there was around the 250 mark, whatever that number was. So I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah, especially if you were in the mid lake, right? Anywhere around Shangri-La or the mouth of Horse, right? Horse. Like that was a zoo.
Was a mess. Yes. Yeah, because that first day of practice, I actually put in at Horse. And because I didn't get to practice, but just for 3 or 4 hours on that first day. It's kind of a weird deal. My buddy had a wedding, and I was in the wedding. And he asked me back in March if I would be one of the best men, or just the groomsmen. And I said, man, I got this tournament. I said, I qualify. I said, we'll just figure it out. And sure enough, I did. Well, I didn't want to back out on him and all that stuff.
Mhm.
So I said, well, I'm just going to unload here at Horse. And I guess everybody's watched the classic and that kind of stuff because I just cruised out. I was like, there's boats everywhere. And I was like, yeah, we're just going to write that area off.
Yeah, that's probably one of my biggest regrets is not recognizing that and bailing on that mid-lake region. I mean, there were some guys definitely caught him in there, but that definitely stacked the odds with that much boat traffic for sure.
No, it was,
Between the classic and the open that uh what's his name won can't think of his name right now.
yeah, I'm
When he
trying
won
to,
on the flopper. Uh yeah.
I
Anyways.
can't think of it either. Yeah.
Yeah, I literally see his face, but I can't think of it right now. Somebody in the chat will put it in here.
Yeah.
But yeah, like those creeks outside of Horse around to Shangri-La, like that whole section, Horse, like that was just beat to a pulp.
Yes, it was.
But yeah, and I had like never been there before. Like I had kind of like circled that like, Wolf down to Drowning, which is still a big area. Like I was gonna
Sure.
stay there, and that ended up just boxing myself in with 200 other boats, and that was probably my downfall.
Yeah.
Um,
To people who've never been to Grand Lake too, it's kind of it can be an overwhelming lake too, because it all looks the same from a blind eye, like just going down the bank looking, it all looks the same. A lot of
yeah, it
people.
looks everything looks fishy, or most everything looks fishy,
Yeah.
right? Like there's not a lot of water where you just look at and go, like, right, like,
Yeah.
I mean, I think you could all say it's fishable, right? Like this all stuff that probably holds fish from time to time. Um,
And that lake
LeBrun,
is
Nick
it's
LeBrun was the name we were trying to
yeah,
think of.
there you
All right.
go.
Anyways, go ahead. Sorry.
And that lake, it's full of shad. It's a very healthy lake. Like
Mhm.
there's so many tournaments on Grand Lake, but it's always producing bags of fish, good bags too. Uh, I think our weights were pretty low though, but we had all that rain kind of made it come up and kind of dirtied up in the area. Not, it didn't dirty up as bad as I was thinking it was going to be, but we haven't had rain in so long. That was all the creeks, they were dry in the back of them.
Yeah, that actually surprised me. I expected it to come up a lot more,
Yeah.
and I expected it to get a lot more dirty to the point where, like, I avoided the elk and the other arm, thinking
Yeah.
it
The
was just
Neo
going to get
show.
blown out. And I don't know that that really happened.
No, I don't. I think it did get a little bit dirtier, but around like the say Wolf Creek area, but nothing to the extreme where everything was plenty fishable.
Yeah. So when you decided day one that Horse was, did you just go down lake towards the dam? Is that where you focused, or?
Yeah, I was one of the. I can't tell you what boat number I was, but I was one of the later ones. And man, I was going to go all the way to the dam, but I didn't exactly know where I was wanting to start at. But it's like I was torn between two areas. And anyways, taking off the late flight and whatnot, rolling down the lake, and I have one area that I like to start on. Like it's nothing special either, but I may catch a keeper there half the time I stop there. It's not like a guarantee spot, but it's a
Mhm.
very obvious point, really all that it is. And I was running down the lake, and sure enough, there wasn't a boat sitting on. I said, "Well, heck, let's just start right here." And so I didn't make it to my primary area. And the first place that I stopped at, I threw a topwater up there and caught just a keeper. And I said, "Cool, so we're going to just stay in this area just for a little bit longer." And it was like maybe an hour and a half later, kind of in that same little area. Um, I had three keepers. So my morning was starting out better than I expected. And then I kept on moving on. Then I caught like a 4-pounder. And I'm trying to think. I went a pretty good ways then. Like there was a pretty big downfall. Like that was probably like 9:30, 10 o'clock. And then I didn't catch my fifth one until probably like a little after, almost closer to 1 o'clock. So then I got out of that area. And I had a pretty decent bag, but I still needed to get rid of one or two more fish, but changed areas again. It kind of went closer to my primary area down lake, and I ended up calling two more times, and that put me up there like that 15 something. I was in second place after day one,
Mhm.
and so I was feeling pretty good about it. But like I said, the best thing is I didn't really make it to my primary area, all because I just happened to. I just knew that spot that I started at. I would have never guessed I'd have got to start at that spot, but it just catching that one fish, you know, it does. It'll just kind of slow you down sometimes, just to just break the ice, whatever, and be able to kind of fish more freely, not have to worry about blanking, that kind of thing. Because that was a tough tournament. I mean, I think majority
Yeah.
of the people struggled.
I don't think I caught my first keeper till like 11 or noon on day one.
Yeah, yeah, it was not easy.
Yeah.
So then going into day two, that was the day two was the struggle day for me. So I had the bright idea. I was like, well, I'm gonna go back to the area that I started on day one, you know, try to do the same thing. And that was where I messed up at. It was like 10 o'clock and I didn't have a fish yet. I said, oh man, so we got to change something. And so I completely changed areas and just kept on moving. And I said it on the stage on the final day. I don't know if there was a boat that covered more water than I did. Like it was, I mean, you was on Grand. You've seen how those boat docks that they last forever. They're just one boat after another, and just zigging in and out around them. But anyways, I changed areas, and it was up until like almost about an hour before weight, and I finally caught my fifth fish. But I did lose a big one on day two. That was the only fish that I lost all week was on day two. And if I would have caught that fish, I think I would have been leading it, and I
Mhm.
probably would have approached the final day different. So I think it all worked out losing that one fish on day two.
Yeah. So days 1 and 2, you mentioned a top water. I think I remember you were throwing a spinnerbait some. Like, is that kind of a 1-2 punch, or was there much else that you were doing? Or
No, I only weighed one fish on I actually think I ended up calling that topwater fish out.
okay.
Um, that was, like I said, that was the only bite that I had on topwater. I know there's a lot of guys who caught them on whopper ploppers, but or buzz baits, whopper ploppers, that kind of things. But I do think I called that fish out, and if I didn't catch 14 of the 15 fish that I weighed in on a spinnerbait, I mean it was 14 or 15 of them. It was pretty much every one of them. Uh, it was just one of those things. That spinnerbait that I was throwing, it was a war eagle, and it was a bigger one. I was putting a bigger blade and stuff on it, but I don't know if it. You could have probably caught the same fish on a chatterbait. I don't know that, but where I was putting it at, I just felt like I could just slow that spinnerbait down just another second behind those floats and that type of thing. Uh, but man, throwing a spinnerbait behind boat docks, that's a pain by itself. Just there's so many cables on that lake, and trying to get, you know, just to get it behind a float is one thing, but you got a cable that's sitting right in front of that as well. You know, you put it in there and you only get to crank it 2 or 3 times, and you're having to pull it out of the water and keep on going.
Yeah. I mean, I think honestly, to me, a chatterbait is much easier to work from. Like,
Yeah,
it's way easier to skip under cables than a spinnerbait is.
yeah, and I
So I
and
think
I
there was
love
probably a lot of anglers that went with the chatterbait, right? Just because it was easier to
yeah.
cover water with, and maybe you throwing a spinnerbait was fighting through it, maybe produce some fish that maybe people were missing, or just a different signature, different vibration, or something like that.
Yeah, and I think that's a lot of truth too, because we've had there's Nichols champion, there's several different um, major tournament championships that just went on like the week before we were there. You know, back to back weekends there was 200 boats on the tournament fishing, and in my mind, every one of them that's fishing behind it are flipping a jig or they're throwing a spinner or a chatterbait and just having something a little bit different. Um, like I said, they wasn't just jumping in the boat, but it was like one of those things, you get 7 or 8 bites a day, and if you can land them, they've been the right quality. But
Mhm.
it's nerve wracking every day because they all look the same. Like you said earlier, every spot on Grand Lake looks like there should be a fish there, and you just don't really know when the next one's going to be. You just got to keep moving in and out and going, and try not to scratch your boat all the way up while you're doing it too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to think back to when you talked on BTL, right? You were really focusing on like where that support float behind the dock where the walkway came down. It was kind of the confluence of the cables and the
Yes.
walkway and the back flow. It all came together. That was like a high percentage area for you.
Yeah, definitely. It was where that shallowest water was. I mean, you got the shallow water on pretty much one side of the float, and it was right there on that drop. And I just think they would just slide up there later in the day. And, it was fall, and bait's a big time in the fall. And you would see some of those big gizzards on the bank. And I truly think that's where that was just an ambushing spot when those shad would start floating up and getting behind the docks. They were sitting right underneath those floats because, man, I kid you not, you put that spinnerbait behind that float, and it probably didn't matter what color or anything you would even throw. You'd click your reel, and it was locked up right then. It wasn't like it was almost like a reaction bite, more or less.
Yeah.
But
Did you put any kind of plastic on it to help it like kind of stall out there, or you fixed it
yeah,
just the blade? Or
I was throwing a Young Pulse. It's a bigger one. It's like a 4. I think it's 4.2. It's a longer one, but
it's like a
I
full
call
size
it
skinny dipper type
yeah,
thing.
like a skinny dipper.
Yeah.
I call it floating. It's really it's just something that has more resistance on the back end to help float it is what I call it.
Mhm. I call it rate of stall. You want it to just kind of stall out and hover.
Yeah, and that's why I upgraded to a bigger blade too, just to get that more resistant. That just I'm wanting to keep the bait high. That was the main thing.
Mm-hmm.
So because they was I mean some of those fish you should have been able to see them bite it,
Sure. So
but
were you like so obviously like if anybody's been to Grand or something like you were going in and out in and out. Were you like ignoring the bank between them and just focusing on the backs of the docks, or were you kind of fishing everything and just what was your because you said you covered a ton of water. So what was your strategy for covering more water in that respect?
so I would go in behind the docks, and if there was a good stretch between it, I would set it down and pick up my buzzbait or plopper and cover right in between it. Now, if there was a lay down or something like that, I would throw a spinnerbait or flip it. I love flipping. That's kind of like my strength, I would say.
Mhm.
Every time I picked up a flipping stick, I felt like I was getting behind, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
It's like I didn't have that confidence to flip. It's like in my mind, if I was going to win in that tournament or do well, it was going to be with that spinnerbait. And so every time that you know what I mean, I would put it down, I was getting behind the whole time. So eventually, you just kind of just put it to the side and just lock that spinnerbait in my hand. And like I said, when going in between it, that's when I pick a whopper plopper up or a buzz bait, something like that, just to move just a little bit faster. On day two, I actually did lose my big one on a square bill in between the boat docks. That was the only fish I lost. It's funny. Every fish I caught was pretty much around the boat docks, and I drug them over cables and over anything that was in the way. I didn't lose a single fish. Then I lose one on day two on a crankbait in between a boat dock with nothing in between us. So it's just funny how that works.
Yeah. It's probably because you weren't ready for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Probably caught
Well,
you by
yeah. I was
surprise.
just burning in between it and locked it up.
You're probably looking at the next boat dock and
Yeah, exactly. Did you catch any of those big drum on a Grand? There's a bunch of drum in that place.
caught a few decent drum, but I actually caught an enormous smallmouth buffalo.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, like 30 some pounds.
Yeah.
That actually hooked like the last day of practice when they had that big storm, like one of the many storms that came through, but the one
Oh,
on
that
the
was
last day of
crazy,
practice.
wasn't it?
Yeah, I actually like, and I was throwing like a hand carved Marty Burns balsa with tacklecraft paint on it, so the thing's worth like $60, and I like, and it's like things are about to go down, and I'm like, and when it hit, like I was like, this is a freaking like. It felt like what you would imagine 8 pound bass like choking your square bill in like a foot of water, and I was like, and then all of a sudden like it got like, and I was like, oh man, and then like it took forever, but I'm like, I'm not breaking this off, and like we were fighting to get it in the boat, so
That's funny. I think I heard Matt Pendergraph. He was telling me that he found a bunch of those hybrids. They put hybrids in that lake, and
yeah,
uh, they always show up at the worst time as well.
yeah, I was gonna see but yeah, I mean definitely which I think I caught one of the hybrids on one of my first spots in the morning on a chatterbait. I was pretty like, thought I hooked up, I was like, yep, like this is gonna happen. Like things are going right, and yeah, so got me excited for no reason.
Oh yeah.
I was hoping to find the picture of my buffalo here quickly, but yeah. Anyways, it was enormous.
Yeah, they'll get in those brush piles. They look a lot like a bass too.
Yeah, Dustin said his buddy fished with you on day one. Said he had nothing but great things. So his was one of your co's. Must have been from Illinois, maybe your co on
Yeah,
day one.
I'm trying to remember his name. Jason, I think Jason. I got his phone number saved. I think
Sure.
it's Jason. I'm second guessing myself now.
Yeah, but to your point about like feeling like you were behind when you were flipping, I definitely could see that for sure. Joe Sanderson.
Yeah, Joe. There we go. Okay, that's something with a J.
So
Yeah,
you kind of combine the Joe and
yeah,
the Sanderson into Jason. So
yeah,
yeah, you're mostly right. Yeah, so that totally makes sense. And yeah, and not really knowing the lake and really understanding, like that was something I was torn with. Like you're not getting bites. You feel like you're torn between those two extremes of like, I just got to cover water and maybe I should just slow down and grind it out. Right. Like,
yeah. Exactly,
and I
and
think partly because I tried to stay in that mid lake, I always kept on running into boats. So it felt like it was better to slow down and grind, because if you were trying to like, you'd just be constantly running into people and,
that's
fishing
true.
back and forth. So, um, yeah.
It the way that I was fishing too, and like Dustin, buddy Joe, he was there and seeing it, firsthand. I could tell with him, it's almost ugly fishing is what it's like. You just everything that you're running looks the same for the most part, and you go an hour without a bite. You're like, golly, I know this is what I think I need to be doing, but then you start kind of second guessing yourself, and then you finally get a bite. And then it kind of like, all right, I know this is what I need to do, but man, that time in between, that's where the struggles begin right there. Or not struggles, but you start having head games. There's conversations and
The
stuff.
ghosts start talking in your head, and
Yeah,
yeah,
but
absolutely. Well, cool. Yeah. So the final day, I guess, how did it go? How'd you bring it home?
oh,
Fishing,
that
I guess at that
that
point
final day.
by yourself, right? No codes on the final day, I don't think.
Yep, no co's. Man, the final day. It's a story you couldn't write any better. The way it went. Um, so yeah, we didn't have no co's, and like I said, I lost a fish on day two. If I already got that fish, I really think I would have been leading it because I had two small fish that I just could not get rid of. And anyways, I put me in fourth and kind of took some like the camera guys. They were kind of following up with first, second, third, and they never interviewed me or talked to me before takeoff or nothing like that. So it kind of, you know, kept the spotlight off of me, which I'm perfectly all right with, truthfully. But anyway, so we went out and same game plan. I actually went out on the final day with less rods than I did the previous days. Like I tied in on another spinner bait, a booyah covert with a little Colorado on it, or it was still a big spinner bait, but it was real cloudy and kind of windy that final day. I was wanting something with just a little bit bigger. But anyway, so I take off and we run down lake and everything started out pretty good. I didn't have my first bite for the first probably hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. So it wasn't like a fast start, but it was like the biggest fish. My first fish was like the biggest fish that I've caught all week. It was like a 4 1/4. I was like, all right, we're doing good. It just kept rolling. And then, like I said, just kept on moving water. And it was probably around, it wasn't that long ago, but I want to say it was around like 1:30ish. I finally caught my fifth fish. I think we were doing it at 3. And me and my buddy Chris Jones, we just happened to run into each other on the water, and that's who we've been running with. And he's like, "You got him?" I said, "Man, I think I got around 13 pounds." I said, "I got 3 solid fish," and I said, "I got 2 that I could really get rid of. They're just line burners." He's like, "Oh man, you made the classic." I said, "No, I don't know." I said, "I really need to get one more, and then we can start thinking about that. He's like, man, it's tough. He said, he's really struggling today. I said, well,
And he's no slouch on Grand Lake. For people that don't know,
yeah,
like
yeah.
Chris
He's won
Fields is like
Toyota
one of the
Series up
guys.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's been to the Bassmaster Classic twice. I mean, he's the real deal. So he's a great fisherman. And, you know, that was kind of good to hear from him that he was struggling too. That's almost reinsurance in a way too. But I was like, man, I think I need to get out of this area. And so I just need to go to somewhere where I think I can catch a good fish at. And this was like probably the only fish that was actually away from a boat dock. I actually went to what it was a big concrete tie down where they tie the docks down. And it's a shallow one. And the lake's up just a little bit. I was like, well, I'm going to go try to see if I can't get lucky and catch a good one off that. And it was probably a 15-minute run. You know, it was kind of out of the way. And sure enough, I went to that spot. And so this was like around 1, this closer to 2 o'clock. I think we were doing it 3 o'clock. So I think this was the time I got there, it was after 2. And I roll up and go to that spot. And I did kind of scope it, like to see where the block was, but I didn't actually like see the bait, like the bait coming through there because it was windy. So I seen the block, made the cast, and then, you know, trolling motor back out, and that spinnerbait hit that. And sure enough, it was like something like that spinnerbait got cut and cracked it. And it was like a 3 1/4, 3.5 pounder. Got rid of that one that I really needed to get rid of, or I had 2 that I needed to get rid of. So I'm all fired up, pumped up. I was like, man, I made the classic because, you know, that put me around 14 pounds, what I figured. And I really thought, because I had 15 pounds on day 1 and was in second place. And I figured that was going to be enough to get me to the classic. So, man, I'm jacked. And anyways, I fished that area out and, you know, just nothing else. And then I was like, well, I'm pretty good ways down lake. So let's go ahead and run up and get closer to Wolf Creek area. So I run back, and I have like 5 minutes probably before I have to be checked in. I said, well, we're just going to go fish one of these boat docks in Wolf Creek. Everyone's in there already, you know, and
Only 20-some boats. Like,
yeah, there's only 20 boats.
Wolf
And
Creek
I think I was the 20th boat that rolled in there too.
Yeah.
So, but I was like, man, there's one dock that I'd like to go in the day on. And of course, there's a boat on it. So, well, crap. Well, I said, well, we're just going to stop at this, you know, 4 or 5 boat docks down from him. Just, you know, how everyone is, just roll in and make a cast or 2 and then go on to weigh him. And so I fished around this boat dock, and this dock that I ended on has a brush pile. You can see the rope, and you can actually see some of the tree hanging, which so many of those docks in Grand Lake are like that. And I kind of told myself in my head, I said, well, last cast, and said, you know, if it's meant to be, we're going to make it to the classic. I throw that spinnerbait on my very last cast down the side of that boat dock, and I hit that tree and kind of, you know, fluttered the spinnerbait. And like the blades kind of fouled up. I went to twitch it again, and it was still heavy. And then the light bulb went off. Then I snapped it. A dang fish, when I fluttered it, ate it and was coming to me. And it was about a 3 pounder. And I snatch it and reel it, and it's just right at the boat. I just boat flip it. And I lose it, man. It was around a 3 pounder. And I threw it in the box, and I got rid of that one that I needed to, really needed to get rid of. And I ended up winning by 14 ounces. And I caught a 3 pounder, and I called a 2 pounder. So I don't know exactly for sure if I would have won it without that one, but it would have been down to like the ounces. But I have not made a cast on Grand Lake since that fish. So it was then, you know, put it in the box and took off, and I checked in with like 2 minutes early, something like that. So you couldn't write something like that. So like I said, it's meant to be. I really think it was meant to be.
I feel like at least half of the great Grand Lake stories end with, "Oh, I stopped at this dock in Wolf Creek."
Oh yeah, if we were smart, we'd never leave, but you can't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never even. Yeah, I don't know that I ever made a cast in Wolf Creek. No, I did, but it was on the north side going out on day 2 morning. I fished a stretched over there, but
The days that you try to stay in there all day, it burns you. So, but it's just how it is.
Yeah. Right on. Oh, cool. Yeah. And so, yeah, kind of. Did you have a bunch of family and friends that showed up for the weigh-in and stuff?
Yeah, yeah. My parents, they got to come down, and some close friends. My brother, I didn't think he was going to get to make it, and him and his little girls, I got to see my niece. So that was all really cool that they showed up like that. So, um, oh man! But since that win, man, everything has just been just totally changing my life. That's for sure. And the season hasn't even started yet.
Yeah, whirlwind for sure. So did you have to think about it at all? Like
I thought
whether you
about
were
it
going
for
to
about.
accept the Elite Series or like what was that process? Because that's always a thing. Like, I mean, like if you qualify for the open, through the opens now through the EQs, like you're pot committed. But like as a Bass Nation angler, it's like you got that dream, but you're like, am I really going to do it? Like, am I
Yeah.
gonna, not? Can I keep my job? Do I have to leave my job? Like, what was that process for you?
Yeah, man, it's always been my dream to be a Bassmaster Elite. That's what I've always dreamed about. Unfortunately, like the way the setup is now, it wasn't feasible for me, just from the working standpoint and things that I have to, take care of. And that's one thing I love about the Bass Nations that really need to push and more people need to look into, because it's such a great way for the blue collar guy to make the dream come true. And there's been, a lot of drama and stuff talked about here lately that I just love fishing, but the drama side of things, just kind of, it gets old after a while. And, you can say, well, would you go to the Leech? Would you not? Well, then was able to win it. And it took me about 20 minutes to decide, yeah, we're going to take that chance. So, I mean, I can't turn it down. Yeah. I may go out there and get my teeth kicked in, but I would absolutely hate myself because it's always been my dream. But, yeah, it's definitely going to be a change for sure. A couple weeks ago, I walked away from my full-time job, so I'm jumping both feet into it, and man, I'm excited. I'm ready for it too.
Yeah. So what was the job that you left?
I was a turbine operator at a power plant as a control room
Mm-hmm.
operator. So that's actually what I went to school for, is to work at power plants, and got a job and been working shift work the last 8 years. So since I've quit, it's kind of been nice not to work shift work. That's so that if there's anything positive coming out of this whole deal, is getting away from shift work.
There you go. Yeah, doesn't sound like a job where you can just take 12 weeks off and keep your job. Like that doesn't sound like something that would probably fly.
Yeah, exactly. If I was to ask my boss, he's like, "Can I got 9 weeks off to go fish the opens?" That just it
He's
wouldn't.
like, no, but you can have 52 weeks off.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. I give it to you without pay. So, but yeah, so in that new setup, the way they had the opens and stuff, it's great for some people. For me, who was the way that work set up, and things at home, it just really wasn't feasible for me at the time. And having this opportunity, I think what was there, 200, right at 250 boats in that. And
240 something. Yep.
yeah, there was a lot of boats.
A couple
And
people that scratched late, but it was a full
yeah,
field.
yeah. And just to be the one guy to pull that off, like, that's you got to have things go your way, and just everything just happened just to line up and fall into place. And like I said, I always had that dream, and man, there's no way I could not take that chance and to go try to fish the elites. Like I said, it's always been the dream and goal. The classic was the number one goal going into it. Like going into that final day, I didn't even think about winning. I did. Top three, that was the goal. Making the classic. That's the goal. If we somehow pull off a victory, that would be even better. But really, I didn't even think about winning the tournament until after I ran into Chris and I caught that, that three and a quarter that put me up there. And then on that very last cast, I said, "Holy crap, we may have enough to actually win this thing." So and I was so close to weigh in when I caught that fish. Like I had friends and family on the dock waiting on me. My adrenaline still hasn't even came down just from catching the fish, calling it,
Yeah.
putting the life jacket on and taking off. And it's like, "Well, who'd you get him?" I'm like, "Hang on, I need to catch my breath for a second. Let me process what just happened."
You're like, you're not going to believe this, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. If you'd have been looking, you could have maybe even seen me. So it's
yeah.
crazy.
At that time, right, they had already announced the no entry. right? If I remember right.
Yes. And kudos to Bass. I will say that I didn't know it, but originally the winner would have got $30,000 for winning the Bass Nations Championship. And when they did the no entry fee, they went to 50,000. I didn't know that. They didn't
You would have
advertise
gotten 30 and then like 25 credit towards the Elite Series or something like that.
What is it?
You would have gotten like $25,000 in credits towards the entry fees, but they just adjusted the payout, which is nice. So that's cool.
Yeah. So that was cool of them. So when I got the check, it was more than I expected to be. So that's always nice which it wasn't about the money. The money is great, and of course, but the classic, that was the number one thing. And then the Elite's invitation, that's just the cherry on top.
Right on.
But I am glad I get to fish a couple of Elites before the classic, just jumping straight into the classic, at least maybe get down to Florida and get my feet underneath me and, catch my breath a little bit.
Yeah, right on. Well, let's take a 1 minute break here, and when we come back, let's really like start unpack what your rookie season is going to look like.
Yeah.
So.
Are you ready to reel in your next home purchase or refinance? Supreme Lending's Dream Team can help guide you through the entire mortgage process, from pre-qualification to closing. We have a wide variety of home loan programs in our tackle box, including down payment assistance and first-time homebuyer options. You can ask HellaBass. He trusted us to help finance his home. Contact the Dream Team today by searching Supreme Lending Dream Team, or click the link below in the description, or scan the QR code on your screen.
All right. Shout out to the Dream Team. Thanks for supporting the HellaBass in 2025. So if anybody is looking to, get a new garage, refi their house, rates are coming down. When you win the Classic, Blake, and you want to, get another house, my guy Aaron can help you out.
Yeah, I'll keep his number. That's for sure.
Right on. So yeah, we kind of talked about how we got here. Now we're kind of caught up. And you made a decision pretty quick. I think when a few days afterwards, you announced it on BTL that you were definitely doing this. What's it been like, basically since mid-November till now? We've had basically 3 months, give or take. Like, what kind of prep, what kind of, how, you talked about stepping away from your job, but like, what have all the things you've had to get done in place to get ready to fish the Bassmaster Elite Series?
Yeah, it's been a lot of work behind the scenes, that's for sure. And trying to, I've been fortunate. So like Pradco, that's War Eagle, Yum, Booyah. That's going to be my title sponsor for this year. They were one of the first people to call me and congratulate me. I've had a pretty close relationship with them guys for quite a while now. And so that instantly kind of took some pressure off, financially. And then, of course, I've been with Falcon Rods for, I can't tell you how many years, probably 8 years. And they were also one of the front people. They reached out and what can we do to help you and type of things. Mm-hmm. And then Phoenix Boats, that's the only boat I've ever ran. I actually, kind of funny story. A lot of times when people turn 16, all they dream about is buying their first truck or a new truck type of thing. I had a hand-me-down truck that I was driving, and I bought a new Phoenix or a used Phoenix. So I had a hand-me-down truck that I was pulling a new Phoenix with. And so I've got to have a real good relationship with Phoenix. And they also, Gary Klaus, he called me that Monday morning. And so like them 3 companies, they all called me within, 4 days of the win or me announcing that I'm going to the Elites. And man, them helping me out, they took a lot of pressure off just, right off of week 1. Mm-hmm. But then moving into other sponsors, trying to work some of those in, it's been kind of difficult too, because, like you said, mid-November, by the time the tournament ended, well, then you got Thanksgiving that rolled around. And so a lot of the companies are off, and then you got Christmas and New Year's. So then there's been a lot of like, we'll get back with you after the holidays type of thing. Yeah. Like, well, man, I got
and a lot of their budgets have been set by that time. By the time we were done fishing, they were pretty much wrapping up their allocations for a lot of them, I imagine.
Yeah, without going into the details or any like the names, that's exactly what I ran into at a couple places. Like their sponsor money that they're allotted, they have to have it turned in by October, is what a couple of them said, which I get it too. It just kind of that's the bad thing, I guess, with having that November, that later in the tournament, because January is already here and my boat's actually getting wrapped now, but everything's been so rushed trying to get everything finalized and to get ready for the elites. So I've definitely got to do a bunch of homework and stuff looking ahead, but that was getting to step away from my job earlier in January. That's definitely been a help, not having to being able to actually just focus on trying to get the sponsorships lined out and what I'm going to do and what the things that I need to get organized and lined up to prepare myself for the elites coming up. But we're finally getting there. It's been stressful, but it's been good stress for the most part.
Yeah, right on. Did you get to do any hunting after the championship? I see you got a couple.
No, I
deer
actually
heads behind
didn't.
you.
No, I don't know if you can see those. There's a couple good ones up there, but no, I did go bird hunting with some buddies one day, but I didn't get to do no deer hunting. So, but maybe
Already making
next year.
sacrifices. Yeah, and Clay says good looking trophy case back there. A couple of those are the nation trophies. The interesting thing is, if you go to Blake's Bassmaster profile, he literally has 0 events, 0 earnings, 0 everything. Like a
Yeah,
true Bassmaster rookie.
exactly.
Now, don't let that fool you, because he's had some success over at MLF. I believe you got a Toyota win
Yes, sir.
on Grand, BFL win on Arkansas River,
Yeah.
right? So, I don't know what your career earnings over $100,000 on MLF. So, it's not like you just rolled out of bed and won a tournament on Grand. Like you definitely have been a tournament fisher for quite a while, and definitely have had your share of success.
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah.
but how much fishing have you done, outside of Oklahoma, Arkansas, like that type of area? Like, have you been to Florida? Is this a
Now,
lot of new water for you on the schedule, or?
oh yeah, 100%. The two that I'm most nervous about is our first two in Florida, because I've never fished in Florida. So that's the main two that I'm worried about. Not necessarily worried, but just the unknown. It's a better word for it.
Oklahoma guys are known to be solid grass fishermen.
Yeah. And like we talked about before going live, like the schedule is really great in my eyes, the way that I look at it, because there's a lot of shallow fisheries that we're going to and rivers type of places. And we are going to a 10-killer this year, and that would actually be, I would consider Arkansas River and 10-killer Lake my home lake. I fish 10-killer. Yeah, I'll probably be you've got Jason Christie, he lives right there as well. We're not. Yeah, exactly. yeah, that one guy. But
so notes to the audience here: if you're planning out your drain the lake, Blake Caps might be one you want to save for 10-killer.
Yeah, I hope I don't let no one down. But I'm very excited for that one.
Yeah, right on.
So that thing it's in June, and I don't fish 10-killer in June a whole lot in the daytime. I'll really only night fish. It's really fun at night. But 10-killer, people who don't know, that's really a party lake. Is really what it is. Where there's a college right there, and it's a fun lake to not be fishing at, I guess, in the summertime. But that's what we're. That's going to be pretty rough out there come Saturday for all the party boats and joy boat, whatever you're going to call them. But it's not a very big lake if you've ever been on it.
So, you said, right, you had light scope, you used it to line up a cast on one of your key fish at Grand, but I think we were kind of talking pre-show. You're kind of a shallow water power fisher. That's where your confidence lies.
Yes, yeah,
Maybe
definitely.
give us a little background on, your angling and what you like to do.
Yeah, this day and age, you got to be able to do it all. And like I said, that I didn't catch his name. He just said Scofin is Hofen or something like that. But Scofin is Hofen, right? Yeah. I won the Toyota series. It was 100% scoping on that one. So I can do multiple things. I guess what I'm getting at. It's not just a shallow water thing, but she comes in, day out. She took all my graphs off the boat. I'm going shallow and I'm fishing shallow. That's what I love to do. And I've always been a person like talking about being accurate and casting and stuff. That's just something that I love doing. Trying to put a bait where other people may not be able to put a bait at, and I find joy of that. Whether I'm catching a fish or not catching, there's just something about putting a bait where you don't think any other bait has been. Or you call it, you're knocking the cobwebs off of the boat docks or the boat slips underneath.
Yeah, I really thought I was going to enjoy Grant because I've never met a boat dock that I didn't like. So like I can pitch jigs at boat docks until my arms fall off, and it usually works out a lot of times. But yeah, so I'm the same way. Like I love fishing shallow. Like I fished Division 3 of the Bassmaster Opens this last year and got my share of scope and on leech and St. Clair and that kind of stuff. But in the end, like, yeah, flip and stick, jig, frog, like, yeah, that'd be my preference for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's kind of, the way the technology's changing. There's a lot more people venturing out, and I know you kind of touched base on the podcast not too long ago, but there's a lot of bank that's opened up too on the flip side of things. So there's kind of I kind of think they kind of help each other in a way too. Because a lot of these guys are doing good. If you look at them, they're doing both. They're not just fishing, they're fishing offshore and going up to the bank. Can you scope with the flipping stick? Yeah, you can scope with the flipping stick. I've been down to Texas and flipping some of those big trees and watching your jig fall down, the trees falling. That's a lot of fun too. Or boat docks even.
Yeah, right on. What's up, Daniel? Yeah, I don't think anybody besides, I don't even know if Party Boats and Weekend Warriors like other Party Boats and Weekend Warriors. Like, I'm not even sure. So yeah, I mean, like this schedule, it definitely feels like, Bassmaster tried to create a schedule that would at least balance out some of the scoping based on the schedule, right? There's a lot more rivers and some tidal fisheries and things like that. So yeah, I mean, is there one place? I mean, obviously 10 Killer, but like of the places you haven't been, which one are you most excited about?
Probably La Crosse. I've just heard nothing about like the numbers of fish in it and how it just going to catch fish is a great place. I've never been there, and I've always heard just nothing but good about it.
Yeah, I mean, pack some extra popping frogs because the pike are really hard on them. So I mean, not telling anything, like there's no secrets there, but like pack extra because you're gonna go through them.
There was a BFL regional up there a few years ago, and I qualified for it, but just going back to work, I couldn't get off work for it, and that would have been the time that I would have actually got to fish those same pools, I believe.
Yeah, that probably would have just confused you.
Yeah,
going up there because that was like late October, right?
Yes.
I think.
Yeah.
They don't bite a frog that late, so you wouldn't have been that excited.
But then other than that, Florida's, like I said, that's the one that I'm kind of more the big unknown. I'm also excited to get down there and just to see it and try to learn and, jump both feet in at it and try to figure something out.
Mm-hmm. Are you going to pre-practice Florida at all? Are you going to show up and put your 3 days in? What does that look like?
No, I'm actually I got everything about packed up. We're getting the boat wrapped and truck wrapped right now. It's actually at the shop getting wrapped. But I'm going to try to leave next Tuesday or Wednesday to head to Florida and fish some of the lakes. I don't know what lake I'm going to yet, but just going down there and just try to give me a week or something on some other lakes and try to familiarize myself with some stuff. I'll have to take a book to figure out what kind of grass is which too, because I don't even know. I don't know all the different grasses like a lot of these people do. So I definitely have a little learning curve on that.
Yeah. So I was just telling Dustin, like, the nation champ, because Will Davis fished 3 in a row. For some reason, they decided that the nation champ doesn't get to defend anymore. So he will not get to go and fish against me and 200 other some people in October.
I hate that too.
Nathan checking in says Blake's the best fisherman he knows. Bright future for sure.
Yeah, we'll make the know. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess
then following that up with the classic, of course, that's the other than like lacrosse. The classic's definitely the most exciting.
And you said
one.
you did put a little time and did some
Yeah.
scouting down there once you found out.
Yes, I did before it went off limits. I didn't do a whole lot of fishing, just mainly looking. But that lake setup, I really like the way that lake sets up, and it looks really good. And there's going to be some big ones caught. The weather's right. I think it's going to be really good. I know last year, or not last year, the last time the Classic was there, the water was a reschedule because of COVID, I believe.
It was in June, right?
Yeah, it was in June, and it was high, and it's not going to look nothing like that Classic.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, obviously, it's set up well for Chris Jones, right? I want to say he got really strong. Well, top Super 6 for sure. It was top 5, top 3, something like that.
Second place, I believe.
Yeah, that sounds right.
To Hank Cherry. So yeah, and me and Chris, we're good buddies and stuff. And like I said, he almost pulled that one off. So, and me and him, we roomed together at the Nations and stuff. So that was pretty. That's pretty cool that we both, got to make the Classic now. Yeah, I'm ready to go back to Woman.
So you were up at Woman Lake?
Yeah, with fish and so like Adam Bertuska, Hayden. I don't know if you know some of those guys.
How do you know all those clowns?
So went all the way back to high school fishing. I met Adam and Sam, and we were staying at the same hotel. Yep, Sobe, and man, we've been friends ever since, and been up there. We all had a trip to Woman. I don't know, 4 years ago. I don't know. It's been getting.
But it was like a late season trip.
Yes. Yeah. Waldo. It was and I got a lot of buddies from Minnesota area now. And I joke around if I ever moved anywhere, that's probably the place I'd move. I got some great fisheries up there.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I definitely know all those guys for sure.
Yeah. I went out with Hayden last Memorial. Yes, we went smallmouth fishing during the spawn. I've never got to witness that, and that was fun.
Yeah, Hayden's a good dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep meaning to I want to get out with Hayden in December, when he's out there breaking ice on Superior. That looks like a blast, but they haven't been able to make that work out. Yeah,
he keeps inviting me, and I'd love to do it, but at the same time, that's a long drive to go break ice. I'd rather go in the springtime when it's warm. He says there's nothing like it though. Those big schools.
Yeah, here's a fun fact. I've never been on Woman Lake.
Oh, really? I've been twice now. I fished, but I didn't know that I went the second time with Connor. That's the same trip after Hayden on Memorial. We kind of bounced around to some different lakes and stuff.
It's Connor O'Connor.
Yep.
He's an interesting cat.
I like Connor.
Yeah, it sounds like you know everybody that I know up here.
Yeah. Like I said, if I ever move anywhere, I say that jokingly, that's where I'd like to move. I love it up there.
You win the Classic, that's where you can have your summer home, and then you can have your other home down south so that you can not be up here when it's a foot of ice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We'll worry about that in March. Yeah, I'm definitely excited though to get to see some of these new lakes, and like I said, and then Okeechobee, they're actually draining some of the water down right now, so that's even going to look different than a lot of the elites who've been there in the past, because I think they're trying to get down to 13 foot, and it hasn't been that low, and forget how many years I read, but it's been quite a while. I haven't looked in the last couple of weeks what the level is, but that's something that's good that I need change. It kind of helps me for something that other people haven't seen as well.
Right. Anybody you're traveling with on the elites?
Yeah, Luke Palmer. Me and him were traveling together. So he was a buddy of mine before he made the elites, and now that we're both on it, and It was just a couple of days. Actually, it was, I think, the very next day, or that Sunday after I won, he called me. He was like talking about traveling together. So that was a big relief too, because being not only a rookie, but like, as you go through the opens, you meet some people. Man, I don't know no one. So having Luke, someone who's been an elite for, gosh, I don't know, the last 7 years, he kind of knows the ropes a little bit and kind of helped me out and things, not necessarily the fishing side of things, just, the business side of it, because it is a business now. I have to look at it that way. So, and it just having like some contacts, that kind of thing, and know who to get in touch with if I need help with anything.
So we might see you sharing a cold one on Living the Bass Life
on
yeah, camera.
We definitely going to do that. I haven't met Aaron yet, so I'm excited to meet Aaron.
Yeah, he's the camera guy, right? Like,
yes.
Yeah. I've heard him on like podcasts. Seems like a pretty good dude. We had Luke on probably a couple of years ago now. Seemed like super chill guy, super good dude.
Yeah,
enjoyed talking to him.
Laid back, yeah. I couldn't be more happy than like getting to run with him.
Yeah, I think that brings a level of comfort. Somebody like you've known him long enough, you can trust him. Like,
right.
He's been to Okeechobee. He can tell you where the boat ramps are. He can tell you which gas station you won't get, your gas cap stuff or whatever, right? Like, there's just like he can help you out and smooth out some of that off the water stuff a little bit for sure, and just make things a little easier.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right on. What's I gonna say? Anybody on the Elite Series reach out? I mean, besides like people that you didn't know. I mean, obviously you've talked to some people like Luke and stuff, but I don't know. Is there like a welcoming committee, or is it like?
Yeah, there was definitely. I definitely had some reach out. Some that really surprised me that they reached out. So we had like a lot of the Bass Nation champs in the past. They reached out. Tim, Paul, he reached out. Matty, he reached out as well. There's definitely a handful of them. I know John Cruz, he was one of them that reached out to me as well, congratulating me and stuff. There was quite a few of them. So, and it was, it kind of makes you, I don't know, it makes it so real. That's always been a dream. And then some of these people you've always looked up to are starting to reach out to you and congratulating you and that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. That's cool. Kind of gives you that sense of community, right? Before you even make your first casts, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of nice. And you see John Cruz or Matty Wong at the boat ramp, you feel like you can say hi to him at that point, right? Like,
yeah.
So.
Yeah, then got to meet man, it's thundering loud out here. I don't know if you can hear that or not.
It's really not coming through your mic at all, so you're good.
That's good. So, but man, I'm very excited for, like I said, going out to the elites this year. I just hope I can represent the Bass Nation as well as, being the defending champion and all that. Like, that new format that they have is really, really awesome, that they're getting that much more people in there. That's, going to be able to, you're going to see a lot of new faces fishing the Bass Nations this year. I really do believe it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm kind of shocked. I don't know. People are just sleeping on it, weren't paying attention, because like it's the best deal in town by a mile.
100%.
Like, if I hadn't automatically made through my state, I'd be fishing some qualifiers this year to make sure I was back at the Bass Nation 100%. Like, I mean, you could, in theory, fish a 4-series circuit for $1,600 plus travel expenses, right? And like, if you pop one off early in the season, you can eat the $400 on the other two. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, exactly.
So
I don't know if people just didn't, like I said, just slept on or just didn't know about it or what. But like I said, I knew about it. I've kept up with the Bass Nations, and every year the schedule comes out with the qualifiers, and I always look at it and see if I can't do it that year, or if I can or can't. But there's always been.
When you're talking about the qualifiers, you're talking about your local ones, and like, because there's like a series you have to fish, right? To make in the old system, you would have to fish like 3 tournaments regular season to just then make the regional or something like that in Oklahoma, right?
Yes. And the way it is now, that I guess if they don't fit, I don't exactly know all the details the way it works now, because I think they've changed it a little bit for this year as well. But
This year is pretty much still the same. Like each state gets their direct national qualifiers, and then your state has a way to determine who the automatic qualifier, like the automatic bids to the like the actual regional qualifiers, right? So like you get to send, well, I think each state gets to send 10 to that on top of the 5 or 6 or 4 or whatever their direct qualifiers are, and then those people get in. They have like a window with their code that they can like register for free, right? And then it basically opens up to people that are in clubs in states, like
yeah,
registered club members, all get a chance to register. And then when that window expires, then it goes up to the greater like Bass Nation blanket. And then anybody that's a Bass Nation member can sign up.
okay, that's right. I knew it was something like that. But yeah, if they don't fill it, and you have good standing with Bass Nation, that's I mean, at least you're 2 tournaments away from making the Classic or the Elites. Truthfully,
Mm-hmm. And
that's exactly
potentially as low as a $400 entry fee.
It was a $400 entry fee, and I mean, I guess doing the math, with everything else, it was over $70,000. I guess you could say something around that. The 6. Well, I came in. Well, I was taken in my second place, but for the regional. But yeah, $400 you make the Classic or the Elites. So that's pretty.
Yeah, and there are some people that are grumbling that it's too easy to get into and there's too many people, but like the only reason that's the case is because the people that are like in good standing, like primary Bass Nation members, aren't filling the slots.
Yeah.
If those people were filling the slots and taking the slots, there wouldn't be any spots for the open at large people to get in. So if you're complaining about it, then sign up and get your buddies to sign up. But if you don't, then Bass is going to take their money and fill the tournaments because they're in the business of making money. So to me, it's kind of first come, first serve. Sure.
Yeah. It's but man, that tournament was ran very well too. It was I was surprised how well it was ran.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I fished the Division III Bassmaster Opens this year, and then I fished the qualifier in lacrosse. That's how I made it to Grand.
Yeah,
qualifier number 4 or 3. It was there was one more in Champlain. That's the one that Pangrek fished.
Yeah.
But like from a operational like execution, they were almost identical. Like what Hank Weldon did at the Bassmaster Opens was almost mirror to what GL did at the qualifiers and the championship.
Yeah, I thought GL did a really good job. That's the first time, really getting to talk to him. But yeah, I thought he was very organized anyways.
And for a guy that, I guess he took over the year that Will Davis won it. And I had never met him until lacrosse and was like loading the boat on day 2 of practice in Grand. And he was like, "Hey, Rich, what's up?" And I was like, "Oh, wow." I mean, there's going to be a lot of guys that crossed his stage between then and then, like to be able to, like, I was impressed. So,
yeah. He's still been a lot of help to me. If I have questions, I'll reach, and he's one of the fastest replies that I can get. I mean, I probably bug him sometimes, but I can, one of those guys. He's been good at returning emails and all that stuff. So I can't say nothing bad about GL.
Yeah, right on. Yeah. Excited. So what's the best way for people to follow along if they want to jump on the Blake Caps bandwagon for the Elite Series?
Golly, it's sure enough getting it out there. Instagram and Facebook, that's the main thing that I use. But right now I'm in the process of trying to get a different page and stuff created just because I've had that stuff for a long time. So trying to make it more fishing. So, but yeah, right now just Instagram, I think it's Blake Caps 121 or something like that. I'm in the process of redoing all my social media because, man, that's something that I got to change. I just love fishing. I haven't really been much of a social media guy. So, and now it's more of a business side of things. So I know I got to change that side of things up as well. There's a lot more to just being a professional fisherman than, people talk about.
I mean, you do have like 3 posts since you won the national championship. So
Yeah, 3. Yeah, that's all been talked about too. So that's yeah, I got to get better at that. I know, just for not just sponsorships and all that stuff. Yeah, there you go. Underscore 121.
so there
But
it is. Yeah, we got a recent kayak champ, Drew Gregory, checking in. He just won a tournament out in Nevada.
yeah, and that kayaking is getting big.
Ooh, there you go. He says he's watching because he's broke down. Well, sucks. That's I hate to hear that, Drew, but hopefully you get it figured out and you get on the water. And did you? Yeah, Andy Nichols was on that trip, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
He's the guy with the long hair that looks like Sasquatch. Smokes a ton of cigarettes. If you don't remember him.
Yeah, I remember Andy. Yeah, old Skeeter. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I think it's
probably was wearing a red Skeeter hat. His hair was all probably
Yeah,
that's the guy.
So
I feel like I got serious FOMO that I didn't get invited on this trip now.
Yeah, you got 2 guys from Oklahoma got invited. You need to talk to them.
Guess that's how people really think of me, I guess.
Well, we can just have our own trip this winter. Or I think we went in October. So I think it was October we went.
It probably felt like winter too. There was snow on the ground, wasn't there?
No, there was no snow, but it was dang sure
cold enough to snow.
Yeah, it was cold enough for snow.
You know what? I think it snowed the day, like maybe you didn't stay for like the 3rd day. Because I want to say Sobey and Barton, those guys stayed an extra day to film their chasing, whatever the series they were, trying to get a 6-pound smallmouth and a largemouth. And I think they went back out that 3rd day, and I think they were like wiping snow off the boat and stuff.
Really? Yeah, that Sam and Adam, they do a good job on their videos too. I enjoy watching them. You do much ice fishing?
I'm not, and I mean I did it in high school, a little bit in college, and I don't know, somewhere my auger and that stuff disappeared when I was at college, and never bothered to replace it.
Yeah, I like to go up there just to try it out. Looks crazy how they have those huts and stuff and on wheels. Or Sam's setup is wild.
Yeah,
I don't know if they're all that nice.
You've never actually ice fished?
No, I've broke ice getting unloading the boat here, but that's too much for me for the most part. But I like.
You should dial up Bart. Tell him you want to be on an episode of the Crappie Chronicles, like Hangwreck was.
I catch some crappie. Well, our shore crappie is a little bit different than up there. I do enjoy crappie fishing. That's normally what I do in the wintertime, like November through like January. I normally crappie fish, but everything or hunt. I try to get a little break from bass fishing. I love bass fishing, but tournament fish, that's all the time, and kind of nice to have a little break. And crappie fishing, that's kind of fill the freezer in the wintertime, and I really enjoy that. I haven't been one time. Yeah.
MJ wants to know if you're IBEU.
Yeah, it should be.
You're not thinking about that though, right? You're like
no. So yeah, I'm trying not to even think about power plants until my power goes out. But
you don't want to think about the backup plan. It's eyes forward.
Yeah, eyes forward. That's what it was. My buddies told me this jokingly when I put my notice in at work. I tried to give them a big notice that I could, and they all knew I was leaving too. They were all at my work. They were so supportive of me anyways, and they knew it. They watched weigh in and all that stuff. So, but anyways, like I was talking to a buddy, and I told him when my last day was, and it was like 3 or 4 weeks later. He's like, "Man, you just need to burn that bridge now and just start fishing now." He's like, don't worry. He said, "Burn that bridge so you can't go back." So like I said, couldn't do that, but it was funny when he said it.
Yeah, right on. Cool.
I'd never work another day of shift work in my life, though. I'll be fine with that too.
There you go. Yeah, maybe. I mean, maybe. Times are tough. Maybe you can pick up a shift at the hardware store, right?
Yeah,
maybe.
There we go. Yeah.
Unpack some baits for Luke at the store or something.
Yeah,
something a little easier.
There's no telling what he'd have me doing. No, I'm excited. I'm fortunate to be able to travel with him this year.
Right on. Well, yeah.
We're gonna have a lot of stores, I'm sure, in the next few months too.
Yeah, for sure. Excited to watch. Yeah, we're getting close here now. Like we got to start thinking about getting our fancy fishing lineups in. So start making our teams. A couple weeks, you got to get your boat prepped. You got to get down to Florida. You got to get your first little semi suntan burn so you can get that out of the way before the tournament. You got to pull some grass off your bugs and get used to it.
Heck yeah, I'm ready for the flip flop tan lines. What I'm ready for.
There you go.
Yeah.
Drew's waiting for the roadside welder to arrive. Hopefully it's not too cold, Drew.
Seeing he's from Nevada, is that right?
No, Drew, forget where he's from. I had him on the show. I want to say like Ohio,
Okay. I was way
somewhere, but he flew out to fish that kayak tournament. I want to say that he won in Nevada.
Okay, maybe that's what I was thinking. Nevada. Yeah.
He won a tournament in Nevada, but he's not from there. He's somewhere from the center of the country, I'm pretty sure.
Cool.
Yeah, because I talked to him briefly at the Classic, and he was heading out and burning it down to get back home. I want to say he's somewhere in that Indiana, Ohio part of the country. Not exactly sure. Yeah. He'll probably chime in the chat here in a second. But Columbia, South Carolina. Yeah.
Close.
That was off by a little bit.
I was way off.
Oh, yeah. He's in Columbia, South Carolina. Yes, he lives in Ohio. So I was right about that. He's saying that he's not too bad was the temperature in South Carolina.
Yeah, we're supposed to be like in the mid 60s, I think Monday. So I'm pretty excited about that. Finally starting to get somewhat of a warmer trend. But then I hear we got an Arctic blast right behind it.
Yeah, get out while the getting's good. Get on, beat it out of town.
Exactly. I hope it don't follow me to that cold weather. Don't follow me to Florida.
So is the tackle prep? Like, are you a big tackle prepper guy? Like, are you just throw some like? Is everything like organized? Like,
yeah, I'm still. You should see the shop right now. I got stuff scattered everywhere, and I got more tack. Yeah, it's definitely overpacking. Man, I can barely pack for a weekend. Nonetheless, I'm going to be gone for going out there early, but I'm also going to fish a Toyota series on Sam Rayburn when I get back. And then I'll get like about 4 days off. Then I go straight to the Classic. So just trying to the Toyota Series Championship is on Grand Lake in November. So I'm going to try to
piece together an entry into that.
Yeah. So, but the way it sets up is, we go to St. John's. The very next week is Okeechobee. And then the very next week is Sam Rayburn. And then we have like about not a full week off because the practice starts on the Friday before. The Classic is almost I didn't even realize this till
like 2 weeks.
It's almost So the way it's all set up, so get like 4 days home and then going back to the Classic, and so that's going to be it's going to be busy, but I'm excited for that too. So, but what I was getting at, going full circle, what I was just saying, I can barely pack for a weekend, and I'm about to try to pack for a month. So I'm definitely overpacking stuff and trying to figure all that out.
Yeah, sounds like a good adventure.
Yeah.
Then are you going to try to like sneak, like plan to do any pre-practicing between events, like trying to hit a spot when you're before the 30-day cutoff, or?
Yeah. I want to try the best I can. It's kind of I don't know, like the Sam Rayburn event for the Toyota Series, because we're coming from Florida. If I wasn't fishing that, I was thinking about going up to the North Carolina and fishing that river, just kind of looking at, because I don't think the elites have ever been there before, and just trying to look that over. But like I said, I'd also try to, if I can make the Toyota Championship, that's $235,000 for the winner of that.
What time of year is that?
November. So the same weekend as so I kind of got my reasons. I kind of want to go to Rayburn, but then again, I kind of hate to miss an opportunity of being that close. Well, I know Florida and North Carolina are still a good ways away, but it's, you know what I'm saying, it's still in that kind of side of the country anyways.
Mm-hmm. So are you fishing a full division, or are you trying to do like all wild card, or like how are you building your Toyota schedule?
I don't know yet. I just got back from Sam Rayburn last week. I didn't do very well down there, and but like I said,
Well, that's right, because they actually went back to back on Rayburn.
yes. But then we got
Okay.
Eufaula's on the schedule, and Eufaula's a lake that I'm. It's like 35 minutes from my house. That's where I fish it quite a bit. So probably the three lakes that I fish the most is Tenkiller, Arkansas River, and Eufaula. That's kind of the three, and then Fort Gibson too. But I haven't had no tournaments there in a couple of years.
Yeah. So, but you're kind of thinking ahead that like, right, you get back on, get a better tournament on this Rayburn one, have a good tournament at Eufaula. Maybe you got to go fish.
I think maybe Lake of the Ozarks and
Lake of the Ozarks, or if you're on the northern swing when you guys go up north, like do you pick up another Toyota in the northeast or something, right, to just try to even out your points for the wild card? Or
I did notice there was one in the St. Lawrence around the same time. I think it's the week after. So we have like a 2-week. So we go to St. Clair, and then there's a week off, and then we go to La Crosse or something like that. Maybe it was 2 weeks, but there's a Toyota in between there. I think it's on the St. Lawrence. I thought about just jumping in that just because. I mean, I'm sure that Bass will go back there the next year or two. It seems like it's every other year they're on St. Lawrence. So just an excuse to go, not necessarily pre-fish for it, but, just learn it anyways.
So do you have much northern smallmouth fishing outside of Woman?
No, not really. But I love it though. Like I've only got to come up there, I guess 2 or 3 times. I never want to go home when I go up there.
Yeah, but so you've never been to St. Clair,
No,
St. Lawrence, Champlain, any of those places?
No. So I have an excuse now to go up there and do some free fishing early on some of these lakes. Just to,
That's the nice thing with that whole ICAST break, right? It definitely gives somebody that's new to it some time to go up and explore those fisheries.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that too. And there's a lot of stuff that I'm definitely behind the 8 ball a little bit, say not going through the opens and seeing all that. But at the same time, I'm looking forward to it and keeping an open mind. And it's not going to be like a lack of work put into it. It's not going to be, well, I'll just show up and fish my 3 days and for practice and then try to, do well. No, it's I got all the chips on the table and they're all pushed forward. Like I'm going to try to work as hard as I can to, anything I can learn or read about, it's not going to be a lack of effort going into this season. That's for sure. Because I do not want to go back to shift work.
Well, if there's any assistance, I've got quite a few lacrosse videos on YouTube.
Yeah. Well, I can look at those. So it's all public, so that's all fair. So, but there's a lot of, kind of getting sidetracked. There is a lot of drama. You hear things, but you take all the drama aside. There's so much more good going on in the sport. You just don't hear about it. All the negative things kind of cloud up all the good going on.
Right on. Well, I'm hoping to get down to the Classic. Maybe I'll see you.
Yeah.
Try to sneak back in the media area. Maybe see you come through. Get a quick little interview for the old, YouTube shorts or something like that. And
absolutely.
Might hop on down to lacrosse this summer, hang around. So
yeah.
Look forward to following along and see how it goes. I think it's easy to always pull for. It seems like the nation champs are always pretty good dudes and easy to root for.
Yeah, and it's kind of I'm not really on no one's radar either. They don't really get the publicity like some of the open guys. I'm trying to understand too, because you got 9 events. They know the guys who are in the runnings to make it and that kind of thing. So we kind of come out of nowhere. So more or less an underdog going into the season. And that's fine too. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like the nation guys have had a pretty good track record the last, 5-6 years. I feel like 10, 15 years ago, it was kind of a trap shoot, whether guys would hang around or not. But I feel like most of the guys are sticking and doing pretty well.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, there's some good fishermen from that area.
Cool. Well, I got a little bit of housekeeping here to do some drawings for some swim baits and stuff from a past stream, and no sense to keep you for all that. So I'll probably let you roll out and do some more tackle prep or get some rest or whatever you need to do. But I appreciate you coming on and spending the evening, Blake.
Man, I sure appreciate you having me on. And like I said, we'll stay in touch, and just excited for what the future has to hold this year. And man, I hope I can represent the Bass Nation well this year. And like I said, I'm just looking forward to it. I'm ready to go, fired up.
Yeah, obviously I can't help you with any on the water stuff, but if you need any like off the water stuff or when you come up to La Crosse or connections or places to stay or advice on that kind of stuff, like feel free to hit me up.
Man, I sure do appreciate that. And again, thanks for having me on.
All right. Thanks, Blake. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right. Well, that was Blake Capps. Thank him for coming on. Awesome interview. Got a few things. If you guys remember last week, we did the swim bait thing, and we did a second chance swim bait drawing. So there's a 2-pack of the DC swim baits, the 6-inch and the 7.5-inch that we got to do a draw on here for people that commented. So while I'm explaining this, if you go back to the swim bait stream and you want to get into this, you just have to go and leave a comment on that swim bait stream. You have about probably 30 seconds to go get that comment in if you want to be in the drawing. But we're just going to bring up the what you're playing for at home. If you're still listening, Blake, MJ says win the classic. So he's smiling in the backstairs studio. But yeah, so the DC swim baits. You are in drawing for one of the 7.5-inch to boots and one of the 6.5-inch weedless, which is this guy here. Dave's been on the show before. He came in late at the end of the stream. He's the guy that smashed the end of his thumb. If you remember last week, he came to the show. He's got he's out of stock. He's got a pretty cool looking hat there. But it does drops. If you're interested, follow, click through here, find his Instagram page, Facebook page. He announces all the drops. You can sign up for the email letter. You know, Dave's done a nice job providing baits for people on here. So if you want to support him, go follow him on social. Leave a comment on his Facebook page or Instagram and say thanks. But actually, I'm on the wrong place. I need to go to a comment picker. Which one of these was the one that didn't work last time? I do have this Omni hat that I need to like modify. Should I do that tonight or do that a different night? I don't know. We haven't Nate Tyson says he thinks he just got in. Oh, I see a comment from Greg. Just got in 1 minute ago. We got a see here. Number of winners. Show random names. 17. You don't remember. I'm pretty sure you did, Carol, but there's still a few moments to get it in. Oh, I see Conrad Fox just got in. And if you guys are interested in YouTube, it's a pretty good listen nonetheless. I think most people enjoyed that. It's captured. I guess I don't know how to do math. Comments 28. All right. Picking the winner. Hopefully it doesn't draw me 4 times. All right. Mr. I think is it Pat? Fahy? tons of questions about swim baits. See them on all over the channel. So congratulations. I'll get a hold of you, or you can get a hold of me if you're not seeing them in the chat tonight. But got some swim baits coming your way. You were there. So there we go. You'll get the DC swim baits. Just need to get a hold of me on Instagram or Facebook or email, and we'll get your shipping address off to Dave, and he'll ship them out. Fancy fishing. Hopefully I can do the announcement video. The group is up. The password is, I'll type it in chat if you haven't joined. It's Ronnie Who, capital R, capital W, but hopefully we'll do like a full announcement. Otherwise it is on the community page. So that's the thing. You got a couple days left to use this month's Omnia code. But I am working on some new prizes this year, slightly different for fancy fishing, which could be a little more exciting. We just got to get finalization that's going to work. I'm glad you like the password, Daniel. Yeah, Arsenal, Powerhouse Lithium, you know the drill on all that stuff. I don't know. Do you think we should do a hat modification? Save that for another night. I was planning to give this away one of these nights as well. I don't know if tonight's the night, but I bought one of these hats from Arsenal just to give it away because I know Dustin's got one of these hats, but one of these nights we'll give that away. So how do I do a tackle shot video and leave without a sack of baits? I guess twofold. The bass selection was pretty skinny in January up there. Like there wasn't a lot of bass stuff out, and I didn't have much time. I literally only had 15 minutes to be in there before I had to drive back to the rink. What about Omnia? Has things changed with Pete leaving? As far as I can tell, like, I've definitely I actually got some stuff upstairs along with what Colby sent me and some whatnot purchases and some Omnia packages. I got quite a few things to unbox, which might be a stream here in the near future. I don't know if that'll be a bonus stream. I'm trying to shoot to have Matty Wong on next week. I need to confirm with him if it still works. But yeah, I mean, it seems like business as usual. I haven't heard anything from, anybody in socials that's like that they've had a bad experience. I mean, like Kip's still knocking it out, doing great stuff, and he's taking over some of that content stuff. Kind of have a plan. I would like to get Matt Johnson on the stream one of these nights. That's on my list. But yeah, otherwise, seems like business as usual. So yeah, as far as I know, customer service, shipping, all the things you love have been really, really strong with Omnia still. They're upstairs, Colby. Do you guys want me to go get some baits and open them and do it tonight, or save it for a different night? Do people want to hang out? We could do a poll. We can give away some memberships tonight. I have been focusing on doing more membership stuff. I don't know if people have noticed that at all. Yeah, Daniel's. I got some swim baits too. You guys say tonight. Carol says their phone's at 3. Have you ever heard of a phone charger, Carol? Do you guys not have electricity in Arkansas where you can plug your phone in? I mean, I can go upstairs and get baits, and Carol, you can go and get a cord, and then we can meet back in like 2 minutes. Overwhelmingly, people say go get baits. Yeah, I've been doing more member stuff. I've had 2 member short streams. We're gonna have the members fancy fishing league set up soon. Yeah, so I've got ideas to keep enriching the content. Yeah, we could do a giveaway if Carol can't attend. That's a good idea. All right, I'll go grab some baits and we'll open some of them anyways. So like don't steal any of my nobody steal the Vixen while I go get these baits. All right. All right, the Vixen's still there. That's good. Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, so punch fishing, as much as we like to take shots at Brian, he actually sent me this Respect Color Sakura Ghost 110. Put that up there. Yeah, so member wise, we had the Beast Coast story recently. We did a deep dive on Omnia data for 2024 on what people buy, which was kind of fun. Oh, we're gonna do my insights on Dobbins coming up as a member stream. So I got some ideas, trying to keep it fresh. I've been rolling out more early access on videos as well for members. See here, I still have 5 membership gifts for this month, so we'll give those away. Colby says the membership's done. We will have members will have access to the Drain the Lake sheet that I need to build for the Drain the Lake planner. All right, Smallmouth Advisory, Casey Jones to Fish, Mike MJ Hayes, and Dakota Strelo just got a free month of HellaBass membership. I did want to say, I kind of forgot it was happened earlier, but there was somebody stopped in and said hi that I met on TikTok. Where was it? Where'd you go? You know who you are. I missed him. I thought I started, but maybe I didn't. Yeah, Tony Collum, met on TikTok. What's up, Tony? For still watching. All right. Yeah, so some people can test out the membership. They can go back and watch some of the members' content. I do have I'm going to be doing a high school seminar, and I will record that, and I'll probably upload that for Visor Gang and higher. So like that's the one thing that I've been doing for the people with a little bit higher memberships is some of that seminar stuff. So I do have probably. I don't know if I'm going to open these Omnia packages because I got a few more Omnia packages coming. Maybe we'll open all the stuff besides all the Omnia envelopes that I have. Let's open this one from Baitman. Yeah, it's crazy, Daniel. Time flies. So this is a whatnot purchase from Baitman Baxter. Oh yeah, I remember these. I bought a couple of. You guys will be super surprised here. I bought some Teckle kick knockers, basically Vixens off. I think I got these for like right around $20 a piece, so pretty stoked. I mean, I think you can kind of get them for that, roughly, but I don't know. Support the bait, man. They seemed like they were going too cheap, so I had to jump in and grab them. I literally have probably a lifetime supply of Vixens because I feel like I haven't lost one in forever. But I didn't have like a black. I guess I never bought that black special edition Vixen. So this herringbone black one is kind of cool. And then this is a good old fashioned. Actually, this is a Vixen. This is a Gen 3 Vixen. So this is a Teckle knocker, kick knocker, and this is the Gen 3 Vixen. Is there a difference? Sound pretty similar to me. All right, well, let's get into Colby's package. He's been bugging me. I've been bad about opening this. Bag of baits together. This is from Colby, Curly's Lures. All right. No particular order. Here is, I think these are like some little ice pan fishing grubs. And these are things that you sell on your website, right, Colby? And here we've got these different baits. I feel like these are two different baits in the same package here. The first bait is basically a bigger version of this like beaver tail grub here, but more of a, I don't know, bass size. That's an interesting bait. Like I could see that being a finesse jig trailer. You could fish it on a little ball head, little slider head, a Ned head. It's kind of an interesting bait, especially with those orange colors. So mostly custom orders. And then I think we have some tubes in here. Dustin, you would not hate these tubes. Black and blue with a blue core shot, it looks like. So you got and it's a really kind of a matte finish, a free rig. I could see that. Like a black and blue, kind of reminds me of the old Strike King flipping tubes with the blue inner. Super soft. This would be a good stupid tube. Like this is a really good size and it's soft enough. I could see stupid tube rigging that. Yeah. They are very soft, Dustin. And then he's got a 3/16 3/0 tube jig. It's a little bit smaller gap than AJ's as far as if you were going to stupid tube it, but definitely a good regular tube. But you could probably, I don't know, have you tried stupid tubing those, Colby? Hand dipped tubes. Powder salt all my bait. I can feel the salt all over my hands. All right. And then we got some more those little baby kind of beaver tails. Probably we'll do like if there's anybody that would ice fish with these, we might do a giveaway with these because I'm just gonna be honest. These ones got a little bit bigger. So here's the 4/0 version. That's a little bigger. I could stupid tube that. Yeah, that 1/4 ounce 4/0. That would be a good stupid tube hook. So a couple packs of stupid tubes. Here's a little pink. I mean, like I would think for some of these crappies and perch and things like that, these would be deadly. I assume you use these a lot for trout, Colby. Purple. We got purple and pink. Carol. I mean, also, if you're just like a summertime, I mean, anytime, I mean, I guess I think of these as ice fishing crappie baits, but honestly, these are any time of the year crappie baits. I mean, I like chasing them in the spring. I could see putting these on a jig head and casting them and kind of strolling these back for crappies. I think I could catch some fish on them. And then he's got some heads. I assume they kind of got little sickle hook design. Nice little keeper. There's actually a little tiny wire keeper, which a lot of the our little barb, a lot of the plastics or these little tiny jig heads don't have good barbs for hanging plastics, and that's nice because most of them have the molded lead, which blows out the head of these small plastics. And so having that little wire keeper on these smaller jigs is actually pretty nice. I like that. I think I could catch some crappies on these. There's the money right there. The 3/16 ounce 4/0. I feel like I don't have any AJs, but I don't feel like it's far off from what AJ pours from a stupid tube. And we got one bright orange tube in there, and then the rest of them are kind of a. Yeah, you would definitely not like these, Dustin. Green pumpkin with a little bit of purple in there. I'm not going to give these away. I'm keeping these. I can definitely see myself throwing these up on that Lake Vermilion Champs Tour event. I feel like that orange one would be a killer, like on a smallmouth bed. So yeah, I think if you go to the curlyslures.com or you look up, do you ship to Canada, Colby? Pull the orange one out. If you want me to pull it out, you shouldn't put it in the bottom of the bag. Is there a significance to this color? Is it like, does it uh do well for a certain species out where you are? Triple layered. It does feel like there's a lot of tentacles in this one. Like there's a lot going on there. Check out this web. Here's the website. You can see there's the green pumpkin purple. So these are the 4-inch tubes, I assume. Looks like it. So if you want to hit up Colby, check out any of this stuff, and contact him here. Yeah. Plus the Facebook. Yeah. Do you not have links to your socials on your website? Feel like you're missing the boat by not having a Facebook and Instagram button on your website. I forget which on Facebook do you go to DBG? Mm. Yeah. If anybody wants to go follow him on Facebook, check out his super impressive beard and his fancy icon. How are you liking the icon? We haven't talked about the icon in a while, Colby. So there's the trout. So some of these, do they all glow, or is there only certain colors that glow? Certain colors. See if we can. Do you have to like charge them? Charge them? I don't know. It's great. Great YouTube watching me try to see if they glow or not. Well, thanks for the care package. Have to spend some time divvying this up, figuring out what will be packaged as a giveaway, what we'll keep in the HellaBass stash. Maybe do like a live on the water fishing with some of these baits for crappies this spring. Could be fun. I don't know. Should we make a hat? Should we save that for another night? New poll. Okay, Dustin. Do you not have to work tonight, Dustin? Why were you here so early? Well, it's 50-50. Now, when I say save it, it means just save it till later. It's definitely getting the top knocked off of it. Happy birthday, Dax Marshall. Ah, he took the night off to ice fish. Well, it sounds like he had quite a few bluegills, so that's good. All right, nobody wants. The majority says save it. We will sheathe the Arsenal battle braid for another night. I think it'd be fun to cut it with Maddie out. Save until next time. 10:29. Right at 2 hours. All right. For those people that were, if you haven't been checking it out, check out the members content that's up. Especially if you just got a membership, you can go back and look at the old stuff. Otherwise, we're gonna wrap things up here at the 2 hour mark. If you came in late, go back listen to the beginning. Oh, Carol, birthday girl, Friday. I mean, I'm gonna cut this and wear it on live. I don't know if that Maddie will cut it. Do you think we can talk Maddie and cutting into one of his Megabass hats? All right, Dustin's gonna go ogle some tubes on Facebook. Happy birthday, happy early birthday, Carol. And if you came in late, go back, watch the replay. Still asking for if you guys think about it and you listen to it on the MP3 podcast, whether you Spotify, Apple Podcasts, if you want to leave a review, that would be awesome. But otherwise, yeah. Join the Facebook group or the fantasy fishing group. Password Ronnie Who. And we'll be back. It might be Friday night next week. I think I'm trying to shoot for Friday night with Matty Wong. Gotta lock him down. He said probably, so I need to touch base with him to see if that's still gonna work. As always, here to help you guys catch more big bass and suck less. Good night, all.